All right, welcome to Snow Day, end of chapter 4 for pre-nursing chemistry. We're going to try to finish up chapter 4, and we're on slide 13. Just so you know, before you start taking notes, if you want, you should go ahead and hit pause and get a periodic table out, because you're going to want to have the periodic table in front of you, just like you will when you do the homework, which I'm still setting for due tomorrow evening, as well as the exam is still set for this Thursday. So don't think just because of the snow day we won't learn anything. So you can pause this and fill in the answers as you need. I'm going to go through and be able to finish this video in less than 15 minutes to finish up the chapter. Okay, so we hadn't defined the atomic mass unit, which is a value we're going to use briefly in this chapter, and then in later chapters we're not really going to use it. We're going to be using a different unit that's more useful. But when we begin to look at the periodic table and looking at the numbers of protons and neutrons, the beauty is a proton and a neutron, a single proton has the mass of 1 atomic mass unit, and the neutron has a mass of 1 atomic mass unit. Somewhere someone decided to define the atomic mass unit, or AMU, as 1/12 the mass of carbon, a normal carbon with 6 protons and 6 neutrons. Carbon being so abundant and useful and common, someone just decided to make it 1/12 the mass of carbon. The goal being a proton is 1 atomic mass unit and a neutron is 1 atomic mass unit. And it's way more convenient if it's all relative to the proton or neutron. That's what this last paragraph is trying to say. It's a useful unit when you're first learning protons and neutrons in the beginning, and we won't continue with it much beyond the first exam. So, like I said, you needed to get your periodic table out, but we already saw this table where it summarizes proton, remember, is P or P plus, neutron is N or N0, electron doesn't really have a mass, and the mass of a proton is 1 AMU, neutron is 1 AMU, and then electron is so small it's not really counted at all. If you see, it's a really, really small decimal at the bottom of the table. You definitely need to know these charges. That is all over the TEAS test. Just a very simple multiple choice questions of what is the charge of an electron, what is the charge of a neutron, etc. So, and that will become important when we move on in later chapters to know the charge of an electron. That'll be super duper important. So, if you have your periodic table, if you haven't stopped and gotten a periodic table, please get a periodic table in front of you. This is the one from the inside cover of the book, and one of the things we're going to notice is above every element there is an atomic number. The atomic number is simply 1, 2, 3, etc., and it goes up. It increases as you go from one element to the next, to the next, to the next, all starting with hydrogen. That will equal the number of protons. So I should be able to give you on the exam any element symbol, and you tell me the number of protons that that element has. For now, for this chapter, that is also equal to the number of electrons. So if I just gave you the symbol Be, you find Be on the periodic table. I'm trying to circle it in red. The number above the Be is 4, which tells me that that element has 4 protons, and right now that element, we know, standard neutral element, has 4 electrons. Okay, so let's actually do some real example. You can go through this. We would do this together in class if we had time, but for now you can do it on your own and then fill in the answers. I give you 3 element symbols. I want you to find the atomic number, find them on the periodic table, write the atomic number, and hopefully you should kind of recognize that there's going to be a pattern between the number you put in the atomic number column as well as protons and electrons. Okay? For sake of time, I'm going to move on. You can see that the answers are the same across. Protons, electrons are the same as the atomic number when we're dealing with all neutral substances. Okay, so a couple other definitions that we're going to do is there's different ways to view how the elements are shown. We already went over that they have that atomic number that's above the symbol on the periodic table. So if this notation at the bottom is what we're going to see sometimes. X would be your symbol on the periodic table, and Z in the sort of lower left would be that atomic number. Now A we haven't seen yet, that's the mass number. That will be protons plus neutrons, which we already talked about last class, are located in the nucleus. Okay, so let's actually zoom in on that. Those definitions at the top are the same definitions that were on the previous slide, and this is the notation I talked about in blue in the previous slide, but it's also, this is the image from your book. So if I just have plain Jane carbon, that symbol is C. Carbon has an atomic number of 6, so that's going to be 6 protons. I'm telling you it has 6 neutrons. The mass number is protons plus neutrons. So our 6 plus 6 is going to give us a 12 for the mass number. Okay, so here's an example of chlorine from the periodic table. Now the difficulty with chlorine is its mass number is a little bit harder. You're sort of like, wait, how do I figure out that number again? And that's why we're not using this notation a whole lot. So we have our Cl, and I want to be clear, that's a capital C and a lowercase l. Okay. The atomic number 17 is nice and simple. That goes on the lower left, whereas if you use the, if you look at the periodic table, it's always kind of above the number on the periodic table. Now, because this decimal is a little difficult to round, 35, it's sort of like, how do we figure that out? For now, if you were to write this notation, the mass number I'm just telling you is 35. So it would, it would look like this blue option here. Okay, I won't give you anything that's kind of weird in terms of rounding. How do you round it? Okay, so let's do this example together. This is chromium, which is element number 24 on the periodic table. I gave you the A, I gave you the mass number, and I gave you the Z, and I want you to find protons, neutrons, and electrons. This would be a perfect short answer problem for the exam. Okay, so protons plus neutrons, that was the mass number, which is already given in the upper left, 52. Protons equals 24, that's the atomic number, which is the same thing as the number of electrons. So how do we solve for the neutrons? Now I've animated this in, so I'm going to go ahead and animate them in. Okay? The neutrons, to solve for the neutrons, you take that mass number 52 and you just subtract the number of protons, because the big thing to note is that A, remember that is P plus neutrons. Okay, protons plus neutrons, so that gives you 28. That's the hardest one to solve for. Okay, if you need to, look at page 111 in the book. There's examples. There's an example table, like an end of that section, that you should actually look at to try to solve if you need practice with this. Okay, page 111 has an end of chapter. I can't remember the number, and I don't have my book in front of me, but I remember it's page 111, and that end of section will allow you to do a practice problem similar to the problem on the exam. Okay, so let's actually kind of combine it all. For neutral atoms, there's no net charge. Protons and electrons are equal. Okay, so aluminum has 13 protons, 13 electrons. Overall, it is 0. So if you were to actually look at the charge, just to confirm and prove that, 13 protons with each one being +1, 13 electrons, which with each electron being -1, equals 0. Everything works out. Your book has an awesome table right here, table 4.6, that takes several varieties of elements and their symbols, and it goes through the atomic number, the mass number, protons, neutrons, and electrons. So here you have 6 examples ready to go for you to look at, and you can start to see, because what's going to happen on the exam is I'll take a table just like this, but I'll delete half of the numbers, and you need to fill in the blanks. And it's not all like iron is not just 26 all the way across, okay? Protons is 26, electrons is 26, but you've got to look at the mass number, and that's where you look at the periodic table and you say, okay, iron rounds to a certain number, whatever, and then you solve for the neutrons that way. Okay, you got to use mass number and neutrons. These are the 2 hard columns to sort of figure out. Find mass number in the periodic table, and you got neutrons. Or if you're given neutrons and protons, you can add them together, like here, and get your mass number, like at chlorine there. Okay, one more definition here. I want to go over isotopes. This definition, I'm starring it because it's on the TEAS test, and I know your homework, your last two homework problems talk about isotopes. All atoms of a given element have the same number of protons, but there may be different isotopes. They're the same element, but the number of neutrons differ, okay? So same protons, different neutrons. You need to know that definition. Now, isotope definitions are generally determined by actually doing like an average mass of all of the elements. So if I had two isotopes, we don't just take 50% of isotope 1 and average it with 50% of isotope 2, and that's all of that element. We actually kind of look at the abundance. So here's an example. Oh, I'll give you an example, sorry, on the next slide. Here's an example of an isotope. Carbon-13, you've heard of maybe like carbon-14 dating. Carbon-13. We are still carbon because that atomic number is still 6. So that is still 6. But our mass number is not 12 like it used to be. Our mass number is 13, okay? Which means we have a different number of neutrons. We had 6 before, and now we have 7 neutrons, okay? 7 neutrons total. So it's totally, it's totally different isotope than carbon that was where the 12 was in the upper left. Now, one of the naming in your homework will do this. This, you may see it called like that, carbon-13 or C-13, like symbol-13. You may see that nomenclature in the homework. Your book talks about it or shows you that kind of nomenclature. It's just the way of saying the difference between that versus maybe the isotope carbon-12 that had the different 6 neutrons, whereas carbon-13 has 7 neutrons. Here's an example of 3 different isotopes of magnesium. They all have the 12 on the lower left, but sometimes we have magnesium-24, magnesium-25, or magnesium-26, okay? So all 3 of those same symbols are in this table from your book, and then it's got the abbreviated version listed below. Same protons, same electrons, the mass number goes up, and therefore the number of neutrons is going to change, okay? We have the approximate mass of the isotope listed here, and then if you see at the way bottom is the abundance. The magnesium-24 is actually way more abundant on planet Earth. It's almost 80%, 78.7% abundance is magnesium-24, and that's why if you look, we don't just average 24, 25, and 26 and come up with a nice middle-of-the-road 25 as the mass for magnesium. The periodic table has magnesium with a different value because the 24 kind of is more abundant. So the magnesium isn't an even 25. It's less than 25 on the periodic table. So here's a way to look at that with a bar graph. So we take the same chlorine that we had looked at before. It has 2 isotopes, one that's 35 mass number and one that's 37 mass number. You'd think it'd be an average, 36, which should be the number that's on the periodic table, but it's not 36. It's a funky decimal because approximately 76% of the chlorine on planet Earth is the heavier, or excuse me, the lighter one, the one with 35 as the mass number, okay? So you won't have to do this math, okay? This here tells you how to do it. You will not have to ever do that for me. I just want you to know why you have these sort of ugly decimals on the periodic table and not just a nice simple number like the notation that we're using when we're learning about isotopes, okay? And I have about 1 minute left. There's a good table from your book. I want to go over valence electrons. This is really important because you're going to have to draw one on the exam. This group number for the main group numbers matches the number of valence electrons on the periodic table. Okay, so if I tell you I'm in group 5, I have 5 valence electrons. Okay? I'm going to show you all of the Lewis dot structures. Your book also has another awesome table of Lewis dot structures. Okay, so what we do is we say I have so many electrons for this element, and I'm going to draw them as dots. Now you do start as single dots, and then you get up to carbon where there's 4 valence electrons, and you've kind of got the sort of north, south, east, and west. And from there you start to pair it like nitrogen. Pair, and then you still have the south, east, and west. Oxygen, 2 pairs, and then left and right. I think I'm out of time. Happy studying.